Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Burnout Paradise on Rocket Rabbit Commentaries. And in this episode, after having successfully unlocked the Opus and the Tempesta, we are going to be doing a bunch of race events in this part with our brand new Krieger 616 Arachno Sport. I don't actually like this vehicle. It does handle decently well, but it's a tad too heavy on the ass, and it also just kind of fights you a little bit too much. Not as much as the Tempesta does. I'm still waiting for us to actually do the Tempesta burning around, so I complain about how terrible I personally find those vehicles. But race for the plate. And then 2.5 miles, Mr. Cloud. Think we can do it?
Yes.
No, let's see.
We have a Tier 4 speed vehicle now. We're getting up there. Boom, we're already in third place. We're already in second place. We have to overtake this badass with the blue.
And now, like most speed vehicles, the 616 Sport doesn't actually have all that much car combat capabilities. But thankfully, as long as you're actually decent at driving, you don't need to deal with car combat all that often usually. Whoosh!
Whee.
And drift turn? Kind of drift turn.
It's a straightaway path. Victory is all but achieved via the oncoming traffic lane. Sweet near miss.
Yeah. To be perfectly honest, I really do enjoy the race events when I'm using a vehicle that I really like. I don't like the 616 Krieger Arachno Sport. I don't. But whenever we're in a speed vehicle that I actually like piloting, it is definitely one of the better experiences to have in Burnout Paradise. And I bring this up because for this playthrough, I actually decided to continue trying to get completion for it off screen. I'm not going to be showing off what completion for this game means, because fuck no. But I'm stuck at the moment at around 33 wins to actually upgrade the Burnout Elite license. And the problem that I'm having is that although I was able to do all the race events fucking finally, I had to switch out for the very last race event into a better vehicle than the one that I was already piloting. Thankfully, it was a vehicle that I was still actually good with. It was just, slightly better than the one I was actually using at the time. But the other style of events, I just don't actually find all that much fun with, because I don't think that the other style events, specifically Stunt Run, work nearly as well as normal race events do for Burnout Paradise. Normal race events where you're actually getting, I've brought it up a lot, to be perfectly honest, as we're going through the playthrough. Normal race events, as you've got these long burnout chains, as you're driving through, dodging traffic, being at the front of the pack with a speed class vehicle that actually handles decently well. This experience specifically is most certainly worth the price of admission. It's just that a lot of the side events don't really feel like this.
I do agree that it is the game's better quality to be concentrating on while we back into first place. While the racing does depend on that same necessity for safety on the road, that you don't crash into things. The thing about the stunt run, though, is let's say racing is about staying on course on a width of 30 feet. Stunt racing requires that you stay on course with a width of about 5 feet. So you gotta be 4 times as careful doing stunt runs, or you're gonna miss ramps, or you're not gonna hit the billboard. Things like that.
Hitting the billboard
really drives up the difficulty.
In stunt runs, for the record. But yeah, figuring out where and how to hit ramps in order to get optimal performance out of your vehicle, yeah, that's always a bitch.
Yeah, so stunt run is definitely the more tedious between the two, and I can totally see why players would rather just do the racing events, because the margin of error is not so slim. I mean, there is certainly something at stake as we wreck our fucking car again.
Yeah. I never claimed to be good at the racing events in this game, but I do enjoy them quite a bit. I wonder how the fuck we didn't score a takedown there, though.
You know, it's funny. A good run of any race could probably permit like 1 or 2 wrecks.
It's 2.
But 3? No,
it's 2 wrecks. Once you get into the latter portions of the game, any more than 2 wrecks will effectively cancel your run. Even in stunt run, that tends to be the case. If you wrecked more than twice in a row without getting a decent combo, you're fucked.
Oh yeah. Time to cut your losses.
Oh, the flower duet again.
Just like you may have to cut off the freaking squeaky hinge on your driver's side door so you can finally shut it.
I don't need to shut the door.
Yeah, you're right. You don't need to shut the door. There's no wind resistance. There's no driver in the driver's seat.
Well, if there was wind resistance, Cloud, the door would be shutting on its own.
Oh yeah, huh? Why is the door just hanging open with all this oncoming force, like the equivalent of a jet engine blowing air onto the door? Huh.
Science may never understand the physics of Burnout, Mr. Cloud.
Physics be damned. Burnout.
All right, so which one is this one? Deep South.
Going deep south.
Thankfully, a lot of the more accessible race events on this side of the map are just for this side of the map. It's not until you get over to the center of the city that they start throwing you towards the western edge.
Yeah, these freaking cars are out for blood. They're ramming into each other. Got him.
Ouch. Thankfully, we didn't wreck, though.
That's it. You did not wreck. You can slam, but you can't wreck.
Now, it's a small complaint that I have for a lot of the later vehicles, to be perfectly honest, because once you get up to a past about 5 points of speed, all the vehicles tend to start to feel like they aren't really made of metal so much as they're made of, an aluminum glass alloy.
Huh.
It's definitely a thing that the previous Burnout games had problems with too, like the latter classes of vehicles just felt significantly weaker when it came to the amount of car combat that you were allowed to do. And since car combat is such a major point of the franchise after Burnout 3, it is a small problem. It's not an egregious problem at the moment, but it becomes an egregious problem with later vehicles. It's why I don't like the Tempesta so much. Yeah, that and it handles like ass. Pascal, when are we gonna do the Tempesta burning route? I want to complain about it.
Maybe in 28 wins.
No, 28 wins is the end of the playthrough.
Hello, Paradise. DJ Atomica here. Nothing beats the thrill of the chase. Am I right?
I don't know, Atomica. The chase is nice, but trying to find the overworld rivals after a certain point is a fucking tedious chore. I've said before that my preferred method of tracing down overworld rivals is to get to the northeast portion of the map and just follow the wall throughout the entire thing, and that remains true even in post game, because that is effectively one of the more consistent methods of spawning an overworld rival nearby.
All right, forcing the spawn.
Yeah, forcing a spawn.
I would think that is not so much a thing that you want to concentrate on, but just like sometimes you let the opportunity pass by because you're busy. Other times you take advantage of it because you're ready, you got the gumption, it's happening, so you go for it.
Yeah. Usually, if you happen to be doing overworld stuff as an aggression class vehicle, it's usually worth the distraction to go after the overworld rivals. But if you're, trying to do stuff, if you're trying to set up stuff for either stunt exploration or stunt runs themselves, more likely you're in a stunt vehicle at that point, and most of the stunt vehicles can't really do all that well with the car combat. Speed vehicles, on the other hand, actually do car combat relatively well, but that leads into one of the smaller complaints that I have with the latter half of the vehicles in the game: the fact that they're effectively misclassed. I want to get into it. Jesus Christ. Okay. I keep going into this tangent, so I may as well fucking do it. Once you actually get to the vehicles past the Tempesta, a majority of them end up being either misclassed or losing the advantages of a particular class of vehicle on their description. The Tempesta does not follow this so much, but it ends up feeling like it does, specifically because it is both over-tuned and difficult to control. The Tempesta is relatively heavy in the middle. It doesn't actually like turning at all, and with such high base amounts of speed, it actually ends up spinning out and doing burnout spins significantly more often than most of the other vehicles in the game. We don't want another event, yes.
Yay.
But what this means is that for most of the race events, it's fucking unusable. It's not heavy enough to actually go into car combat because it doesn't have the armor that other decent aggression vehicles have, but it's also too heavy to actually do any significant, turning or drifting around tighter corners without effectively coming to a stop. It's fast enough to where it's able to put up significant numbers against other speed vehicles, certainly. But other speed vehicles are very rarely its actual competition. Most of the time, even during races, the problems that it ends up facing is dealing with the goddamn courses. These courses are actually relatively well designed for it being an overworld style racing game. However, you end up needing specific attributes in your vehicles in order to actually take down your opposition. One of the more crucial ones is the ability to go where you tell your vehicle to go. If your vehicle is fighting you on handling, you're more than likely just gonna end up struggling against that the entire time you're trying to drive. And
we're talking about later vehicle unlocks.
I mean, the Krieger 616 is actually one of the better speed vehicles in this regard because it's only got a tier 4 speed category. It doesn't actually burn out all that badly when it survives a crash. But anything with 5 or higher speed tends to burn out very badly if it survives a crash, to the point where it may as well have crashed any goddamn way.
Well, I tell you, Burnout Paradise puts cars into the roster that are not necessarily better than cars that you unlock earlier in the game. Super Smash Bros. Games typically will have a roster full of characters that are not as usable as the other ones. Case in point, Mewtwo from Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Hey, Mewtwo is almost viable in Melee. It's Ganondorf that's not viable in Melee.
Ganondorf is definitely not viable in Melee.
I wish he was, though, because I really like Ganondorf's Incarnation in Ultimate. Ganondorf's Incarnation in Ultimate is one of my favorite characters.
And
ouch.
These, just like the vehicles in Burnout, that the characters that you unlock, one by one in Super Smash Bros. Games, because you have to meet conditions and prerequisites in order to unlock these characters, usually is made easier by characters that have better stats than the original characters. So you find these stepping stones along the way to you getting the characters that you actually want.
Although that's definitely true in certain Smash Bros. Titles, it's not honestly all that prevalent in Smash Bros. Ultimate or Brawl because of the inclusion of the story modes.
Well, the story mode is the great equalizer. Every character is going to have a story tailored to the character's weaknesses and strengths.
No, because Smash is a platform. Smash is a platform fighter. Both Brawl and Ultimate use platform fighting as the core conceit of their story modes. So none of the characters have an individual story mode. It's one of the things that they scrapped from Melee. Melee's individual story modes have long since been gone.
Alright, we have ourselves
Damn
a
it!
competitor. We may end up losing this one, but we'll be back to claim what is ours.
Hopefully in the next part.
Indeed. In the next part...
We'll be continuing to do more race events, but first... Come on. And then spear him! Spear him! Damn it! Yes! Yes! We got the GT2400! We're switching out. Be safe, everybody.